abducted from their homes, taken to an alien land. A group of scientists submit to their strange captors' demands. How will they survive against overwhelming odds? It's not the expense, it's the mercy of God.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Welcome to Literarily Wasted. And if that song didn't tell you what this is about, we are talking about The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey. It's not The Expanse.
You made that very clear in the lyrics.
It's The Mercy of Gods, and I think this is going to be a fun discussion. Welcome, everybody. Who do we have joining us? We've got Wait for it. Jeff.
Hey. Hello, everyone.
And down below us in the window, we have Kathy. And joining us all the way from the other side of the country, we have Tim. Yay! Look at all the crowd goes wild. The applause. They all applaud in exactly the same way every time. It's pretty consistent. And who do we have in the comment section? It looks like we've got Brandy, hey, Dan, hey, Marianne, hi, fam, Stacy, hey.
Oh.
Okay. Cindy says, hi, guys, on YouTube. Stephanie says, I didn't finish it, but I still wanted to say, hi, Lit fam. Hi, Stephanie. You can stick around. We'll spoil it for you. Yesterday's tomorrow says, hey, Lit fam. Jeff.
I'm there.
That's you. Tiffany, hey. Brandy lives for these songs. Hello, Brittany over on YouTube. Hello, Missy over on YouTube. Stacy, Willa, Stephanie, clap. Alex, Adrian, hello. Hi, human non-bugs. That's us. That's all of us.
Willa didn't even start it, but she's still hanging out.
Yeah, that's right. So no excuses. No, we'll spoil it, but methodically. So we'll say spoiler alert.
No, we're not going to do that, but we'll kind of go in order of the book.
Well, yeah,
a little bit.
We'll try, unless somebody wants to just jump in and be like that ending. Oh
which
gosh.
we've done before.
We have. Hey, what's up? I see you. Welcome. It's early for Jay, who's in the future. Jay joining us from the future.
Does that mean Tim is in the past?
Tim is in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We know what's going to happen, Tim. So spoiler alert on life coming up for you. Okay, well, let's dive in. The Mercy of Gods. What we like to do at the beginning of these discussions is just give it like a high level overview on how you felt about the book. So let us start with Kathy, who read it twice.
So I liked it. When I first read it, I liked it okay. So it's kind of, I think, different reasons than like what some other people have been saying on the Discord, but mainly because despair isn't really my thing. And that's like a large part of what this book kind of is, just vibe-wise. But like in my initial review that I wrote on Goodreads, I think I kind of likened this to sort of, in my mind, it felt kind of like Battlestar Galactica meets Alien Clay. And I would kind of back off a little bit on the Alien Clay thing just because it's not like as kind of horror, but like alien life and also like this sociology aspect of kind of just like being confined together, being prisoners together, and like how that works. And it was kind of interesting. I enjoyed it a lot more on the reread after reading book 2, because I think book 2 made me appreciate the overall story a lot more. And obviously, like, no spoilers, but so I I feel like it's really obvious to me, like that. I haven't read about like the authors and how they're writing the series, but it just feels like it's very planned out, like from the start. Like the little things that happen in this book, little things that are said, like, oh, that okay, I appreciate this more. So
Love
yeah.
that. Well, that's good to know for somebody who's considering whether they want to continue reading. What about you, Tim?
I hated it. I loved it. I hated it. I loved it. I was mildly disappointed.
What a roller coaster you went on. And to end on like mildly disappointed. I guess that's kind of an average of your roller coaster experience if you were to scientifically look at the data points of where you were. But I'm excited to dive into that a little bit more. Brittany says this wasn't a new favorite, but I like the ideas and it well enough to keep going with the series, given that I heard it improves, comes together more. So yeah, that corroborates with what Kathy was saying. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the book. And kind of like Kathy, when I finished it, I was like, hey, this was good. I liked it. And I gave it 4 stars on both Goodreads and the Storygraph. But then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, I may have been a little too generous with this. And I had several problems with it, but the main one I think is that this book, as a book by itself, it goes absolutely nowhere. It is all world building and all setup, and it just doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't give me a story from point A to point B. I mean, of course, I'm used to reading series, so it's not like I expect the whole series in one book. But the best series are able to give you a story, and I'll say the Tainted Cup, that was the first one. The Drop of Corruption is the second one. But that series, and even though it's in its kind of infancy right now, each book is its own thing, and it's inside of a bigger world. And The Mercy of Gods, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, wow, I like the idea here. I love this idea that we've got these humans that are being taken over by this other race, and there's maybe some other alien species that are fighting against these guys. There's this whole world out there that he's building up, but the book as a whole didn't give me a whole lot. It didn't go anywhere. And so that was my feeling at the end of it. I liked it enough to keep reading it. But I do knock books down when they're like, hey, this is just a chapter in a larger story as opposed to a story within a larger story.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, picking up a book, especially one of this size, is a commitment, and you expect that something of this size to be more of a complete thing and not necessarily like part one. I feel like part one or end on such a now we're into the story.
Yeah, and it felt exactly like that. Now, with this series, the way I understand it is it is designed as a 3-book series. So maybe we're going to get, beginning, middle, and end with the 3 books. I won't know that until we read it. Kathy may have a little bit more insight on that, but it definitely felt like this can't stand by itself at all. It's just a beginning of something.
Yeah. What about you, Christy?
I totally agree.
Oh,
yeah. I really like this book, and it sounds like I probably like this book more than you did, Jeff, but I do have the same complaint. Like there was something missing, and it just wasn't enough for a book, especially a book that's so large. And I remember like being in the middle of it and being like, I need this to move on. I need a little bit more. But I'm actually really excited to keep reading, and I really did like it. And I know people are talking about was it torture porn or humiliation porn? But I don't know. I do think that he kind of described this horrifying situation, and the way that people reacted to it was really fascinating to me. And the hopelessness versus what people do to keep going. And I really enjoyed reading it. I wish that it had been more. And I will say, we read the whole Expanse series, and those books weren't like that. Those books were each a contained thing, and they're all connected, like really connected, but like each one does like feel more whole than this. So if you were worried about that, you don't have to be. Those are great books.
Yeah, I mean, I also liked it. I didn't have a hard time reading. Well, that's not true. Well, I think that's something we can talk about.
Oh yeah,
too.
I want to talk about that too.
There were most of the time I didn't have a hard time reading it, and I was engaged with it. I think I share some of the sentiments that everybody else is saying, that it didn't feel like enough of a complete story. I think I got some sort of closure in the same way that I think I got closure from like Red Rising, where like like at the end of I'm trying not to spoil too much of this book, but where the end of Red Rising was about a thing. It was about like a Hunger Games-esque scenario where like they're just trying to survive, and like he did, and then they moved he sort of
It's
like
a huge spoiler.
in Red Rising. Well, I'm not spoiling this book. I'll spoil Red Rising all day.
What?
But,
No, people are more likely to have read this book than Red Rising. Right now.
anyway, Red Rising. We did read Red Rising, but he got to a conclusion of Red Rising. But it was clear that that was just like the next. That he was just moving on to the next part of this, and that's kind of the way I felt with the Mercy of Gods.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I didn't have like a huge problem with it. I thought that this was much more of an exercise in what Christy was talking about, in like examining the psychology of being abducted and taken away from your world and confined and trapped and put on this fully alien place where we expect them to behave like we do, but it turns out like they don't. And
oh yeah, they're like reconciling with the fact that they are alien, and we keep like giving them human motives and stuff, but that's not fair to them. That's completely wrong.
And just like looking at the psychology of the situation from all the different viewpoints of the different characters was fascinating to me. And I thought that the James S.A. Corey's like I was really I think I was really impressed by the level of which that they were able to portray that, or to like like you had the way Tonner reacted to it versus how Daffod did versus Jessen or Cinia.
Oh yeah.
Like the way that they all kind of handled it. Ricker. But also we should talk about like how they name people, and I feel like it's just like garbage naming.
I read it as David the whole way through the book. I stopped trying to read it as it's supposed to be. I said, all right, that's David. Let's keep going.
Like every time I looked at a name, it felt like I was having a stroke, and I was trying to read like an actual name, but it wasn't like translating in my brain.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, but all that to say is that I really appreciated the world building of it, and like the alienness of it, and like the psychology of it. So I think that was captivating enough for me, and I think I am interested to see where it goes from here.
There's again, like no spoilers, but there's in book 2, there's also a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more as far as just like interesting things happening and people go different ways and stuff like that. But there's a lot more of this sort of exploration of how people respond differently to these situations, and like ethical discussions in captivity, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
So I guess this wasn't so much of a like A happens and then B happens and then C happens, but it was just a I mean, we are looking at like the zoo exhibits from the perspective of the exhibits. Which I thought was fascinating, but I do understand like would have been great if we had some sort of like complete final piece of this. But anyway, so let's talk about the story a little bit of what
I wouldn't mind talking about, like, I feel like a lot of people had trouble getting into this book, and that might be a good place to start.
Okay. Did any of y'all have trouble getting into it?
No, and a lot of people on Discord said it was a slow beginning, and I didn't find that at all. I was actually probably more interested at the setup than I was in maybe some of the middle bits. But so I didn't find it as a slow read at all.
Was it David?
I
Or
did
David? Or
find
It's David.
it kind of as a slow read
Yeah.
at the beginning, just because I was not as interested in the the university politics aspect
Mhm.
of it. But what did you think, Kathy?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, so many people say that it was a slow beginning, and I agree with that in the sense that, like, I understand why it would be less interesting to a lot of people. And I actually found, even on the first read, I found that like really interesting, just like as somebody in academia, that it's just always interesting to me to see, like, I don't know if this is like future or just some other like non-Earth kind of just like day-to-day kind of dull, just academia society, like having to, I don't know, talk to people about grants and that sort of thing. It was really interesting. It was really interesting on the reread to kind of like, I don't know, like watching all, well, okay, so I guess Star Wars isn't a spoiler, but like watching all of Star Wars and then like going back and seeing like life on Alderaan or something, just like, it was really kind of bizarre. Like after everything that's happened, going back and just seeing like kind of the day to day, nobody knows what's going to happen. And even like, I mean, people here just having read the first book, now thinking back to that, like nobody knew what was coming.
I had a kind of a different experience. I started listening to this on audiobook, and I listened to like the first like 2 or 3 chapters, and then I had to stop. I don't know what it is with this narrator, or if it's the way that the book is written, but in a chapter, it like jumps around in perspectives, and you don't get any sort of pause between jumping around. And especially at the beginning of the book, it hurt me. Like I was so lost. Like every time it jumped to a new perspective with like no warning.
Yeah, you just get a nice little page break, and then
Which works in text, but in the audiobook with no break at all, it was so
Well, that would
confusing.
be-
Yeah. So I ended up having to go back and read
they didn't even pause.
No, it was just like a chapter or a paragraph break is what it sounded like in the
That's
audiobook.
crazy.
Or maybe I just missed the pause, but it was enough to where like it really confused me. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So I ended up having to go and reread it in print, and that helped a whole lot. And then by the time I was in the last like quarter, I was able to go back to the audiobook. But I actually love the beginning of this book.
Really?
Besides the audiobook, what they did or how I reacted to it. But I love seeing everybody in their natural habitat before this like life altering thing happens, like before the after happens. And I thought it was a really good way to just get a sense of who they were. And I loved getting like Daffod at the very beginning. Like, I think Jeff, you mentioned, well, this isn't that. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
I'll be talking about it. I didn't struggle with the beginning, but like I read it. I think I had a hard time. Sometimes I think I was just kind of like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And I think I was trying to make connections where connections didn't exist. So like, you know, like all this fanfare was made about the breaking up of the research group, and then you had Laren Morse, who was like, you know, and then the other guy who was like, we're gonna get him. And also you had Laren Morse with this discovery of like, hey, there's just things out there, there's things that are coming this way out there. And then this other research group has like found a way to make two things talk to each other that aren't supposed to. And I was trying to connect everything. I was trying to like make everything connect, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with now. But
and just a quick note, it's just Laren Morse. Yeah.
Well, that's 2 L's. It's
It
like
does.
Lloyd.
You're not wrong, but they didn't pronounce it that way in the
Laren.
audiobook.
But
Do-
yeah.
How do y'all feel about the very, very start of the book where you have the Carracks basically saying, these humans destroyed us? So from the very beginning of the book, you kind of know where it's got to go. Not the book necessarily, but the whole series. The whole series has got to go to this end. I mean, I see this in a lot of books. This early foreshadowing of the end.
I was hoping that we'd get a better understanding of that by the end of the book.
I don't mind that we didn't get a better understanding of that, but I loved that because, like y'all are talking about, this book had a lot of like really hard, awful things happen to like humanity in general, and it's really lovely from the beginning to know that like they're gonna regret this. Like humans are gonna, I don't know if they're gonna win, but they're gonna cause some damage.
It's sort of like the prophecy of like the one who felled the mighty oppressors.
Yeah, it's funny. I forgot about that like 2 chapters in.
That's fair.
The foreshadowing helps you cope with the misery of it all.
Exactly.
You know they're gonna rise up. They're gonna do it.
I mean, and it's
Spoiler
humanity.
alert.
Of course, they're going to rise up, but I love knowing that it's going to be effective.
It is a little nugget to keep you interested in the rest of the story. To know that they kind of hinted at like there being one particular person who is responsible for like later on in the book.
Did
like
they?
I think they did.
I don't remember that.
I think they hint at David being the guy.
Well,
the guy.
By the end, he is like
He's like the guy.
the ambassador.
He's
He's
the
the
Luke
only
Skywalker.
one that can talk to the Carracks.
And I don't know about the rest of you, but I did not enjoy him as like the lead protagonist in the book. I had real problems with that character, and him being a creeper from day one, like just got off on the wrong foot with me.
Yeah. No, that's what I was going to mention earlier when I said we could talk about it later. You're exactly right. And he's an extremely flawed person. And you're right. He is just a creeper. And I think that's really interesting to have him as like the main character, or at least one of the main characters.
Do you think it was intentional? Because I think, like there's one thing to say, like, do we need our like saviors to be just non-flawed? Like, do we need like or were they writing him in such a way that was maybe unintentionally like this guy kind of sucks? Or
I think it's a fair question, and I think it's how you read the character. Is he just he's just this guy who's on the outside of where he wants to be on the inside of, and then he just kind of lucks into a situation where he gets this thing that he wants, or is he just a really creepy guy? I think it depends on how you read the character.
Let's talk about his creepiness. What did you find creepy about?
Well, and really quick, he
David.
really did luck into
David.
everything he had. Like he even like lucked into being part of that group.
Yeah, his mom was important.
And his aunt.
His aunt. She was a nepo baby.
Mm-hmm.
What was creepy about him? Just the fact that he's creeping on Else and
Yeah, I think he takes advantage of an opportunity that maybe he shouldn't have taken advantage of.
Isn't that him the whole book? That's the whole book.
That may be the point I was making.
This is kind of his MO. I don't know how I feel about him. I don't hate him. I don't love him, but I'm not like, oh, this guy. Because I feel like every time a Daffod chapter came up or section came up, I was like, okay, what do you got for me, big bud?
I appreciated his perspective because it was so different from the rest of his teams and the rest of the humans that we got to see.
But
and I like that, like, he doesn't think in black and white at all, and that's really great. And I just think he was an important perspective that we got.
His method of coping was like, I want to try to understand them, and that's what I think gave him the advantage. He had to make some hard decisions, and I don't know if Else was kind of opportunistic as well.
Yeah.
Else / the Swarm,
Yeah,
which we can get into. So I will say, a segue. I mean, we can keep talking about Daffod as the guy, and how do we feel about if we want to read more of him, if he is the guy. But there were so many, and James S.A. Corey, I feel like I've read enough of their stuff to kind of know how they write non-humans, and I don't like it.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the alien chapters.
Yeah, the
swarm
alien chapters where
specifically.
with the swarm and with
The Carracks, the librarian.
the librarian or whatever. There were just times where I'm like reading through entire sections where words are just bouncing off of me, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is saying. What is this?
Well, we talked about this. Like, I can read the chapters, like the human chapters, in bed easily, but if I'm lying down in bed and read one of the alien chapters, like I start drifting off.
Did anybody else have a problem with comprehension of some of those chapters? Because in The Expanse, they do something similar.
Mm-hmm.
There's this character called the Investigator, and
He reaches out.
It reaches out. Yeah. And the chapters are just nonsense. They're just nonsense.
Kind of nonsense.
Kind of nonsense.
So are we talking about the Carracks chapters or the Swarm chapters or just all of those?
I think.
No, I think with the Carracks chapters, I mean, he wants you to be, well, they, because it's two guys, they want you to be a little off your footing with that whole society and what they're doing. I don't think he really wants you to understand everything, because they are supposed to be alien.
Well, they did a good job.
When you talk with the Swarm, though, I feel like I had a much better understanding of them, and I don't want to miss it. Adrian said something in the chat where she's talking about is it Elsie or Else?
Else.
The audiobook says Else.
Else, okay. Where Else takes advantage of David, but I think, and hopefully this is, I mean, it's a spoiler if you haven't read the book, but she's not herself like from the moment the invasion happens.
Yeah.
So that's mostly the Swarm doing what it's doing to try to complete its mission.
Yeah.
So the Swarm chapters, I actually wanted more about the Swarm. I wanted to know more about this because these are the guys that are really fighting back and that they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I would have enjoyed more Swarm. I don't really need to know the Carracks' background so much. They're, you know, they're conquerors and that's what they're doing.
It took me way too long.
Read book 2.
Read it.
I've got every answer. There's definitely another one coming, but yeah.
I found out way too late that the Swarm, the whole situation with the Swarm and the Carracks. I think Christy had to clarify that for me because I just didn't get it as well as I should have. Like I got some stuff, but I didn't put together like, oh, okay, so this is happening, and then the Swarm is like the ones that ambushed them, and then we have the Swarm spy, and then there was the slow reveal that the Swarm spy was an Else. It's like, oh, it's one of them.
Mm-hmm. And that the Swarm is in a war against the Carracks versus, didn't you think that they were?
I thought that they were part of it.
Carracks.
I thought that initially when the Swarm was on the planet on Anjin, that the Swarm was like a scout sent by the Carracks in advance to like learn about them all and report back so that they could come, because the Carracks knew.
They had spies there gathering information and stuff because they knew everything, but it wasn't the Swarm.
But how did that happen?
They didn't even tell us.
The Anjins had sufficient technology to detect the warships before they even arrived. So how is it that these bug creatures got sufficient spies to get all of this incredible intel about, this foreign planet?
Yeah, I don't think that the book clarified, but the Carracks just go from planet to planet and assimilate any of.
They're the Borg.
Yeah, like he mentioned that earlier. They assimilate any life or any being that they can like use, and so we saw several different kinds of aliens on the Carracks planet. But if you imagine that there's some that maybe we can't see that have a transportation system that we can't see. Yeah, carrots. We should just start saying carrots.
The swarm is apparently machines. Are they like little nano? Are they organic? Are they?
I think they're like part of a hive. Is kind of how I read it, and that they're just they're a new organism, right? They're like the swarm that's in else, but they're part of the whole group too, and need to communicate.
Yeah,
You can't tell if Kathy's smiling because she knows something that she can't say.
Kathy knows everything.
No, I don't know.
But I thought the swarm chapters were they were hard to
They got better.
figure out, but they were really
Yeah,
interesting, especially when we got like residual humans,
Yeah.
like all like starting to mix, and like you could see like the different reactions based on the different humans that it had taken over was really interesting. And like Jeff, you mentioned that Else was taken over before even her first kiss with Daphid, but I think that the swarm was also using her like just the way she is. Like it did mention that she kind of like goes after the person who's going to get her the farthest, and that's a thing that she does. So while it did like orchestrate the whole thing, like I think it was also playing on her natural tendencies.
But it was really able to emulate the personalities of its hosts
and let the host like take over sometimes.
pretty well.
Well, and that's actually pretty interesting that the swarm's just not replacing the body; they're encapsulating the person that was there, and that person's not necessarily gone away.
Yeah,
And that person affects the swarm's actions as well. I found that pretty interesting.
I am glad that when Daphid found out that he was just like, "Oh, you lied to me the whole time. How could I trust you?" I was like, "Oh, thankfully we don't have that."
yeah.
Mhm.
And anybody else like we probably would have, but it makes sense. It made sense to me that Daphid reacted the way that he did.
And she was right. Tonner would have just put her on the
Mm-hmm.
exam table and been like, "All right, you're a specimen now."
Yeah. And talking about the swarm, I thought it was really interesting at the end where they finally took over someone with a lot of testosterone, and like they're like, what is this? This is not what we're used to. And like it was a totally different experience for the swarm.
It's hard being a dude, you know.
Do we need to talk about Tonner and his complete just lack of not being able to do science
Awareness.
all the time?
That's clearly a coping mechanism, but yeah.
For those of you who work in labs, is there a Tonner? There's always a Tonner. Like, is Tonner a relatable character?
I mean, I feel like he's kind of a caricature. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah.
Like an
Like
archetype?
I personally don't know any Tonners, but I mean, can see how kind of I don't know, what people kind of think of as like super dedicated, always focused, like nothing else except for lab work 24/7. I could see that.
There's always a Tonner.
There's not always a Tonner though, but I mean, as far as like specifically what Tonner's about, but I mean, yeah, his attitude, like always thinking he's right. And like, yeah, there is often somebody who gets to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, Tonner was like the celebrity. He was like the celebrity superstar. He was like
Mhm.
the it guy for science. And it was interesting to see how that translated to you're just a prisoner now on this planet. And
Well,
like
and the dynamics with like Daphid like starting to pull the team in a different direction, and Jessam even pulling the team in a different direction was really interesting.
and you know, I liked Tonner, even though he was kind of an ass and had a lot of blind spots, and up until that moment at the end where he was like, "I just want credit." I was like, "You dumb." Nobody's that dumb.
I found him a
will
little unbelievable. I mean, he just got abducted by an alien species. He just went through a very
Yeah, right.
traumatic experience. Gets to the planet, and they're like, "Hey, man, you're pretty good at doing science. We need you to do science." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing."
You're right on the best.
He's just right into it. You know,
But-
nothing at all.
He just got through something super traumatic and is still going through something super traumatic, and like to go back to a routine that he already had, I feel like it's probably really, really intoxicating. And I think he probably saved a lot of his group's like sanity by like forcing them to work immediately to
focus.
to go back to like the norm for them or some version of it.
It's job security, you guys.
Right.
That
And
yeah,
we
like
did-
so much of this book and even like a lot of the next book too is just about, like we've said before, like different people responding differently to the situation, and a lot of discussion about like how much of somebody's maybe perceived terrible decisions right now, is it, or is it just like we're in a different, you have to think about it in context, and you have to think about it as far as like how people are reacting, and yeah, it's not black and white.
Yeah. And Brittany's talking about how the leadership shifted. This baton are being modeled after Sheldon Cooper, Big Bang Theory. So I guess we're talking about these traumatic situations. Obviously, traumatic situation number one was the cargo hold.
Well, no, the first one is the eighth of the
Oh, yeah.
population just being killed immediately, including Noel. That was
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
they Thanos a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, we got Noel's death from his own perspective.
I love that. I mean, I hated that chapter, but it was so well done.
And then that obviously affected Cinia deeply. But then the cargo hold, which took up a decent portion of this book.
Yeah.
Which
and everybody's descent into madness, but especially Jessamine with her pills and like knowing that her brain is like actively changing was.
This is where I appreciated a lot of the details and the psychology of that situation, because he like talked about things that they did or that they didn't do, or like, and it's just things that I was like, yeah, how would it be like if you were trapped in this room with the same people for probably weeks, maybe months.
It was at least a month. It was at least 6 weeks, I think.
Right.
With no windows, no sense of time. It was surprising how like little
murder there was.
Murder and brawling there was.
Yeah.
But
It sounds like there was that in other ships and other places.
Yeah.
David's group, I guess, they got off a little easy
They did.
compared to what other people went through, it sounds like.
But like things like, I think those are the things that you expect to see, and those are kind of the tropes of that kind of situation. But the things like nobody talked because there was nothing new to talk about.
Or everybody basically ended up in like tattered rags because they were giving everything they had to the group. Like when Cinia and the others like they unlaced their shoelaces to like give to people, and like I don't know, there was a whole lot of good that happened in their cargo hold.
And the little mat that they had to use to.
Well, yeah, that was
poop
not
on.
good. But then they had like the infirmary area, and like people were like volunteering to like take care of people who needed it.
So that, I mean, we're talking about
That was just
desperation.
hard to read.
It was hard to
Yeah.
read.
That whole section was just, yeah.
But you could say-
I was going to say that's the part that really, I mean, the part like it's a large chunk of the book, but that's what made me really think, like gave me vibes of kind of maybe a Battlestar Galactica episode, or even maybe something from The Expanse that's not like space opera scenes, but like just really not a lot happens as far as plot, but there's just a lot of kind of exploring, what happens in captivity, just a really, really just situation full of despair.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but also, yeah, like Tim said, hard to read.
And you mentioned Battlestar Galactica. That was very Battlestar Galactica. I mean, it's like, it reminds me of one of the first episodes, I think, where like the Cylons are attacking every 33 minutes and like nobody is able to sleep for it. And that episode, there isn't a lot of plot to it, but there is a lot of just like weariness and like just people struggling to do what they need to do and survive, and they didn't know what they could not foresee the end in sight. Of course, because it's episodic TV, they had to make one. But they did such a good job of portraying that like sleeplessness and the tiredness and just like stress of it all. And I think that definitely reminded me. And it's hard to read, which I'll say is probably a testament to the authors, because they were able to
Yes.
Convey that in such a way. And then finally,
that was absolutely intentional. They wanted you to feel bleak and dark there. They want you to really know what the situation is, that there's no being saved from this. You're going to have to learn to live with it.
Christopher says altruism is actually very common in traumatic situations. You get people who behave very badly because nobody is stopping them, but most people go the other way and become much more kind and generous. Yeah, I guess you do kind of bond together. At least you hope you do.
Yeah.
I hope to never be in that situation.
I hope you're never in that situation.
True.
I mean, chances are if I'm there, you're there.
Well,
maybe, unless you're one of the 8. And then we finally get to the planet, and we get a little bit of relief.
Scenic change.
A change of scenery.
Mhm.
They get to shower.
Oh my gosh. Well, can't remember who it was, but oh no, Justin showered and then Arena came in and she like went and hugged her, and Arena is filthy. And I was like, don't do it. You're so clean.
Oh, Arena.
I think I don't know, something like that.
But they got to shower, and then they got their mission, which is like, you got to figure out how to make this feed the knot turtles. And Tanner's like, we can do it.
And they're competing with the night drinkers and don't even know it.
They're competing with everybody.
Well, so let's talk about the night drinkers for just a second.
Yeah.
And those are the monkeys with feathers.
Yeah.
Right? That were like
Feather monkeys.
attacking them.
So do we know that they're competing with them, or did they make this assumption and then actions came from that?
I feel like the librarians told them, but even if they didn't,
I feel like the librarians did say that they were.
The night drinkers had changed their berries into weapons, so they did have the same. They at least had the berry-like things that they were working
I want
with.
to say that the librarian did when
I feel like
Daffod
it was
confronted
said.
them, because when it was a Daffod or Tanner or somebody who confronted them about, like, we were supposed to be safe, and the librarian's like, what are you talking about?
Nobody said that.
Yeah.
That was another one of my kind of problems with the book, was that the night drinkers, we didn't get enough information about them. At least for me, I didn't feel like I really understood their motivation. Did they know that they were fighting against these humans? How did they know to go bomb them the first time? Where did that come from?
Perhaps, maybe because the night drinkers had been there for longer, they figured out that. I mean, and they were like going in and looking around, so maybe they just figured it out like visually, or possibly their librarian told them. Also, I don't think it's a bad assumption that they'd been there so long that librarians were like, listen, we brought these guys in. You guys are like coming up to your last chance. Although the librarians don't really like to explain things, so maybe not.
What is.
But they're probably starting to feel desperate because I think they've been there without, like, what is it? Being useful?
Got to be useful. Dan wishes the name Night Drinkers was explained. I mean, it's a cool name, but what does it mean? It means they drink at night.
Thank you, Adam.
It's in the name. It's right there.
They're slightly better than day drinkers.
Right?
It's also convenient that a whole lot of alien species breathe oxygen and live in the same gravitational kind of range.
But at the same time, that could just kind of be selection bias, right? Because like those that aren't going to be there. So
right.
Also, we only got a small look at the world and the buildings. Possibly some of the other structures have different gravity and different oxygen. We don't know. But they did mention that the night drinkers were probably a little oxygen crazy because they needed
starved or something.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they were so violent. So I don't know.
Well, doesn't matter.
There's a lot of questions that they did not answer.
They got wiped out.
They did.
Yeah, that was just one of my, I guess, kind of criticisms, and is that there's detail missing here that I would have liked to have had.
Yeah.
That I think would have not only just liked to have had, but I think would have added to the story. And I don't want to and I don't want to make it out like I didn't enjoy this book. I did, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to continue reading it. But knowing at least a little bit of how they write in Leviathan Wakes, I felt like there was a lot of stuff missing here that I know that they can write.
So I like this comment that Brittany put up, and I will tell Brittany to continue reading the series. I wonder the same thing. And one of the quotes from this book that I'm not going to, it's like a quote paragraph, but one of the things that was kind of glossed over really quickly in this book that I found like super fascinating as an ecologist and evolutionary biologist is the, like on Angine, these two trees of life on Angine, and kind of this idea of where did humans come from? Like that wasn't like, that's not, you know, the Earth of this series. That's not like they're like only humans are found here. So what, again, like the whole bigger story here, like I'm super interested in that, especially after reading book 2. I want to know, I want to know a lot more about this.
Yeah, I was half expecting when they, hey Kristen, I was half expecting them when they were taken at the end and they were put in a room with a bunch of other humans, for those humans to have come from Earth.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
And I didn't get that, but
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see humans from any other planet in this series.
no Earth. It's a distant memory to these people.
Yeah, that's my guess.
That's fine. We've seen enough of it. Jeff talking in the comments and on the screen. The what?
Well, we just talked about who have we talked about? Daffod and Toner and Else. We haven't really talked about Justin too much, although she was an amazing character in this book. I think we probably got the most growth and the most insight into her, like as far as characters go.
Yeah, I mean, somebody already with, I guess, a mental illness shoved into a situation that is guaranteed to give you a mental illness
Without her like human crutch, her brother.
Without her brother most of the time.
Not crutch.
Support. Yeah, her emotional support human. Yeah, I mean, she was getting her character insights was really fascinating,
and how she kind of became the war chief for their group.
She sure did. She was the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And like she blamed herself for the death of Irina, but that wasn't her fault.
Tanner blamed her too, and I was pissed at him for that.
What's the deal with that?
If she had been there, she would have gotten blown up too.
Dead.
Like, I was so angry at that.
It's not like Justin was the security.
No, they both would have died or gotten seriously injured, and then killed by the night monkeys.
Night
drinkers.
Night monkeys.
Yeah, I don't get that. One of Tanner's defining qualities is empathy.
Yeah,
you might be right there.
No, but she certainly blamed herself. I didn't. I was like, give yourself a break for that. Like,
oh, Missy, yeah, for a minute.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, for a minute.
Which I saw coming from a mile away. I don't know about you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't. Nobody else thought that like James S.A. was trying to be like coy about like what had happened to Else and with Gillett and all that stuff. Even when she was like, like what if I could guarantee that he'll change his mind?
I thought it was really heavy-handed and intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I still hurt. It hurt.
Did it hurt? Did it hurt you?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Talk about it.
When the swarm made Gillett
Jelly
cooperate.
Yeah.
Well, like, so we're at the end, and these are like big spoilers. So if you don't want to hear it,
spoiler alert.
But Else dying, I was attached to Else, even if she was infected by the swarm. Like
you wanted Else and Daffod. You were
no, I did not want Else and Daffod, but I did want more Else, which I think we'll get a little bit through the swarm through Gillett. But and then Jellet, like knowing that Justin just got him back and now has lost him kind of it really hurts. Like
So, speaking of that, we know what's happened. Jessen doesn't know.
No.
So when we get to that point in the story where she learns this, is it better for us to know ahead of time, or would it be a better reveal if we didn't know that?
I don't know.
I mean, we're sitting here stuck with the dramatic irony of it all. I think it would have been hard for them to hide it. I think it would have been hard for them, and I think we would have just then called the authors out to be like, "Come on, we know, just tell us." And I was thinking that, I was thinking that the reveal took too long in this book. Like they were trying to set it up as some sort of like revelation, which it clearly wasn't. Like I knew as soon as she was basically promising that Jellet was going to change his mind, that she was just going to take him over.
Yeah.
But I also kind of read it that way. Like it was supposed to be obvious. I really think you could read it either way, and it's just up for interpretation.
Yeah.
But I feel like Daphne doesn't know.
No, you're right.
Right.
And I think
No.
that's what's so interesting is that it was so obvious to us and it's so not obvious to Daphne is really interesting.
I mean, I guess he doesn't.
But
really
we
know
had
how the
insight
swarm
into
works.
the swarm. I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
We know how the swarm works. So there's a lot of dramatic irony going on there. But the fact that he doesn't know is just something else that we don't know. That he doesn't know, that Justin doesn't know, that because like we don't know what kind of relationship Daphne and Jellet had, but when they're sitting there waiting for the stuff to carry out, and Jellet's like, oh come on, and like holding his hand and stuff. I was like, that's Else. And that's where I thought it was going to come out.
But he's still in there. So like as somebody was saying in the comments there, they're not entirely gone.
Yeah.
Which is probably on purpose, and that they'll come back later in the book in some form or fashion.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what they do with that because I feel like the swarm is changing rapidly because of all of these human personalities, and I think that's going to come into play later.
Does the swarm get to upload those personalities along with all of its data?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Love to find that out.
I mean, it's all data, so sure, why not?
So then the swarm can actually take all of the advantages that the humans have and now spread that out to the rest of these species that are fighting the Carricks and have been fighting them for however long.
Yeah. To be fair, it's like when I read vampire books and I'm like, how the heck do people not know this guy's obviously a vampire? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, now we're having a little talk about the science behind Ghost. But yeah, so the swarm doing what they needed to do. So this big spoiler alert. Austin Core, whatever his name was,
The security,
the guy who was planning the uprising.
Yeah.
He was planning a big uprising that would have resulted in the Carricks just wiping out all of the humans and just saying like, forget it all. So Daphne was faced with a difficult choice to tell on them basically.
and condemn them all to death.
Condemn them all to all the conspirators, the uprisers to death, but saving the people that weren't part of it, the rest of the humans.
Rest of humans,
He did, but he wanted to spare Jellet because he didn't want to put Jessen through losing him again.
Yeah.
And so Else, as the swarm, took over Jellet.
Discarded Elsa's body.
Yeah, discarded Elsa's body, took over Jellet, and then basically helped Daphne rat them out, which was an interesting move considering Else said that as Else, she couldn't go and tell on them because then they would get suspicious of her as the swarm. I'm like, well, what makes it different? What makes it different is she I guess Daphne had to do it and she could come in as like the the person, but it had to be Daffod initiating it and not like
Well, David's the one who's already.
who's already been talking
Yeah.
to it. Yeah. But to spare Jellet, the swarm had to take over Jellet and be the like also the mole or the rat or whatever for this group.
And
That
kill
was-
him in the process.
Yeah. That was really rough when they came in and wiped out everybody that was in the conspiracy. That hurt.
Yeah. Also a very BSG thing to do.
Yeah, you're
Mhm.
right.
But
Yeah, Adrian makes a good point. Like on the other hand, the conspirators were just fine sacrificing all the humans.
yeah.
Yeah.
They just wanted to go down fighting.
So we'll see. We're left with Daffod, Tonner, Jessen, Rickar, and Campart.
Camper was just a jokey guy who broke down once. I like Camper. He's a good guy. He's a fun guy. I liked his. I appreciated jokes. I also appreciated Daffod being like, your jokes are annoying, but please don't stop.
Yeah.
And then
Rickar was really interesting. Like he was the mole, the one that betrayed everybody,
double crosser.
and he was totally cast out at the beginning and not even allowed to help. And then like how his relationship changed, especially with Tonner, was really interesting.
Yeah, they became buds. And then of course Cinia, who was just a bitter, angry person
I mean,
throughout. And then
Yeah, I think that's legit though.
yeah.
I mean
She's the person that's like, I'm not participating in this. You know, what's the point?
I'm not giving anything to these people. These not people. They're not people.
Not people.
They're animals. Animals with superior technology and abilities to kill.
Yes.
They're the Borg, but they are a formidable foe, which makes for a great, storytelling device. So look at us. We are 2 minutes away from the
1
hour mark.
Whoa.
But there's still, I feel like so much that we left on the table here.
Oh, let's see. Becca on Discord said the team behind at Amazon that did The Expanse are doing a TV adaptation of The Captive's War.
Okay.
Cool.
It's part of a development deal between Amazon and James S.A. Corey's newly launched multi-platform media company, Expanding Universe. So I don't know what that means, but that's interesting.
Okay.
Didn't know about that.
Christopher thinks Daffod is a sociopath.
Oh, interesting.
It's possible. I mean, the way that he kind of handles trauma is way different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Which, if that interests you, keep reading.
Keep reading. So that's the question that we'll put it out to the rest of everybody. Are you going to keep reading? Is this enough of a book to make you say, I want to know what happens more? Are you invested? Are you just like, meh, I'm going to go back to reading Dungeon Crawler Carl?
Why not both?
Why not? ¿Por qué no los dos?
Tim, are you going to keep reading?
I am putting it on my TBR.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a couple of other things I'm reading right now, so I don't know when I'll get to it, but I do want to read it.
All right. And Jeff, you already got book 2.
I've got book 2, and I'm actually reading the novella, which you can see is called Live Suit.
Okay.
This takes place before book 2, and I think you can get it as a download. So I'm gonna keep reading it. I had some problems with it, but the concept is interesting enough to keep me going.
And Kathy, you are caught up.
I was early.
Yeah.
I will say too, I read the novella, I read Live Suits, and it like didn't make any sense to me. And then like I read about it, and then when I started reading book 2, I got partway through it and was suddenly like, you know what? I need to go back and reread Live Suits. So I reread Live Suits, and I would say you should read Live Suits, and you should take Live Suits as kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a extended prologue to book 2. Like that's kind of where I would place it.
Okay.
Definitely do that. Yeah.
So we should do that.
Yeah.
Christy?
Oh yeah. Let's start it. Let's read it tomorrow.
All right. Yeah,
it's 90 pages.
Yeah, it's like a mini novella.
I think I'm gonna keep. I would like to keep reading, and I'm a big enough fan of James S.A. Corey to know that like I like their writing style for the most part, and I think that they write. They have a good track record with
Yeah.
me.
I think there's going to be a good payoff.
Does everybody know? Like, I know everybody in the group does, but people watching, James S.A. Corey is actually two different guys.
It's two people. What is it? Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank are the names.
That sounds right. Yeah. And they used to work for George R.R. Martin.
They did. They're just the sci-fi George R.R. Martins, except they finished their series.
I kind of wonder. So, like, I never read The Expanse, but I watched the whole series, and I love the series. But I think, and I haven't read much about the authors, but I feel like I read something where, like, for The Expanse, like, one of the authors was more focused on like these particular characters, and another author was like, he wrote a lot of the scenes with these like focal characters. And I kind of wonder if that's the same with this series. Like, I'll have to read more. Now I'm curious, just like how they co-author a book. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I also want to know
what's the
how
mechanics.
How do you write together? Who writes what? Heather's still got to finish this one. Still gonna read book 2. I can be persuaded to read a novella. 90 pages. Okie dokie. Yeah, Marianne's got ulterior motives here. Let's see. But yeah, there's so much we could talk about. Shame we only have an hour, but if you want to talk more about this book, you can go onto Discord. There's a lively discussion. You can read Tim's play-by-play as he was reading it. It's a roller coaster.
It is.
And for July, the poll results look like they were kind of close.
Yeah. The first and second place were
In
four
first
vote
place is The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers. Isn't that the book from like 1890 or something like that?
And that's the book we're reading in July.
So that's July's book. June's book is The Hexologists. There it is. There's what it looks like if you are looking to see what it looks like.
And there's already a thread on Discord about it. A thread?
Yeah.
A channel?
Channel.
Yes.
Ooh,
Do we know when book 3 of The Captive's War is coming out?
So the second one came out this year.
The second one just came out. Yeah.
He was doing Expanse books every 1 to 2 years, so I feel like it shouldn't be too long.
I think there was about a year between 1 and 2. Yeah. It wasn't very long.
That's pretty normal for them.
So soon.
Hopefully. Maybe 2027, maybe 2028.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that from what I understand, it's supposed to be a trilogy as opposed to a 9-book series, which is The Expanse.
That's good.
But yeah. All right. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for this live discussion. But the discussion continues on Discord and on the Facebook group, and anywhere we are, you can still talk about The Mercy of Gods and its sequels. So yeah, it's big thanks to Jeff, Kathy, and Tim for joining us on this live discussion. And for those of you who are going back to read Dungeon Crawler Carl, me too.
I've got it, but I got to get to it. It's sitting there waiting for me.
I'm on book 3 now. All right. Well, good night, everybody. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.